Today, we're going to talk about something that drives smart, capable people absolutely crazy. It's called the competence illusion, and it's all about that frustrating feeling that knowing more doesn't always mean you're actually doing better.
I mean, have you ever been here? You can lay out a perfect, detailed map of your stress. You know your triggers, you can name every single one of your bad habits, and yet, you're still completely stuck. It is such a maddening paradox.
And that feeling, it brings up this huge question, right? If knowledge is supposed to be power, why does it so often feel, well, completely powerless to make a real difference in our lives? Let's get into it. Okay, so this whole frustrating experience, it actually has a name. It's called the competence illusion. And just being able to name it, that's the first step to getting past it. So what is it exactly? Well, it's this sneaky, deep-down belief that just because we get a concept, because we understand it intellectually, we've somehow mastered it. We mistake explaining something for actually doing it. It's a really subtle but incredibly powerful trap. And look, this isn't some self-help buzzword. We're talking about serious academic research here. Over at Stanford, professors Piffer and Sutton dug into this exact phenomenon for years. They gave it a name, the knowing-doing gap. And their conclusion is kind of mind-blowing. They said the real roadblock to our growth isn't not knowing enough. No, it's the massive canyon between what we know in our heads and what we actually do with our hands and feet. And if you need proof of just how big that canyon can be, get this. Another study from Stanford makes it painfully clear. Researchers basically gave a group of people a masterclass in how habits work. The whole shebang. So after 6 weeks of having all this knowledge, are you ready for this? A staggering 92% of them failed to change a single habit. 92%. Just let that sink in for a second. They had the perfect blueprint, and it made almost zero difference. And that, right there, is the absolute heart of the problem. Having the knowledge is one thing, but integrating it, embodying it, making it part of you through practice, that's a whole different ballgame. They knew the what, but they weren't doing the do. So why? Why are our brains wired this way? It feels so illogical. Well, it turns out the answer is actually in our biology. Let's take a peek under the hood at the neuroscience behind this whole thing. Okay, so think of your brain as having two different managers. First, you've got your prefrontal cortex. This is your strategist. It's brilliant. It loves new ideas, it connects the dots, it understands all the cool frameworks. Then you've got the basal ganglia. This is your autopilot. It's all about efficiency, just running all your ingrained habits without you even thinking about it. And here is the real kicker. These two systems, they are terrible at talking to each other. I mean, the communication is just awful. Your strategist can learn this world-changing new plan, but it has a really hard time getting that message to the autopilot who's actually flying the plane. That disconnect, that's the source of the knowing-doing gap. Now, this is where it gets super counterintuitive. You'd think the smartest, most knowledgeable people would be immune to this, right? But the research shows, nope, it's the exact opposite. For high achievers, people who are just amazing at learning new things fast, this illusion is even stronger. Why? Because they grasp new ideas so easily that their confidence just shoots through the roof way faster than their actual competence, their ability to practice the new skill. And we have all seen this in action, haven't we? I mean, you know the type. The leader who can give a beautiful speech on emotional intelligence and then just loses their temper with their team. Or the one who preaches about mindfulness while clearly running on pure adrenaline. It's not that they're hypocrites, it's the competence illusion in plain sight. This is such a powerful way to think about it. For so many smart people, knowledge stops being a tool to help them grow and instead becomes a shield. It feels like you're making progress, but what you're really doing is building a fancy defense to avoid the messy, uncomfortable work of actually practicing. All right, enough about the problem. It's kind of a downer, right? We've named it, we know the science behind it, so what do we do about it? How do we actually start to close this gap? Okay, this is probably the most important thing to get. You cannot learn your way out of this trap. I'm going to say that again. You cannot learn your way out of it. The solution isn't one more book, one more podcast, one more webinar. It requires a total shift in focus, from knowing to doing. So here's the game plan. It's 4 simple steps. First, you've got to accept that understanding something is just the starting line, not the finish line. Second, forget the big, complicated frameworks. Focus on tiny, repeatable practices. Third, and this is a big one, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable and feel like a total beginner again. And fourth, find someone to hold you accountable for what you do, not for what you know. At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this. Gaining new knowledge feels great. It soothes our ego, makes us feel smart. But it's only practice, consistent, deliberate practice, that actually rewires the brain and creates real, lasting change. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The true test of what you've learned isn't what you can talk about at a dinner party. It's not what you can explain in a meeting. It's what you do, automatically, when the pressure is on and nobody's watching. That's the moment when knowledge either becomes real wisdom or it stays just an illusion.